Good morning, or afternoon, or even evening, depends on when you're watching this, I guess. Right, I'm trying a few new things today. First of all, I've tweaked some camera settings. We're recording at a slightly lower quality. Fingers crossed it'll actually help. I don't know. I'm also going to try and keep this video really short in the style of the Dragonfly keyring one that we did a couple of days ago. It kind of goes against the grain of what I'm trying to do, and that's show people just how long something actually takes to make, and hence why that is reflected sometimes in its cost. Because it's not just the materials that are used and the skills, it is physically the amount of time that it takes. Somebody still has to charge for their time. I heard a very good saying many years ago saying, you're not paying me for the 30 minutes it took me to make it, you're paying me for the 10 years it took me to learn how to make it in 30 minutes. I think that's quite indicative of everything as far as leatherworking goes, and any kind of hand skill, anything that requires this amount of learning and training in order to be able to make something. So, another one of the firsts that I'm using today is chrome tanned leather. Never really liked the idea of using it. It's very different to veg tanned leather when you're trying to work with it. It's a leather that is tanned in a way that makes it something that can be pre-produced very quickly. So therefore it's quite an affordable leather to use for someone like myself or anybody else who's making things. Yeah, because it generally tends to come out cheaper. The impacts on the environment are a lot higher though, because you're using chromic salts, acids, lots of very dangerous chemicals. Responsible tanneries obviously go through a process after this, and they treat the chemicals and make them safe for the environment. The problem is that those chemicals that are in the leather still after the tanning aren't put through that same treatment. They're perfectly safe for you to use. They're perfectly safe for you to wear as clothing. They're often, most clothing is made from chrome tanned leather, again because the process makes it cheaper. But at the end of its life, when it goes into landfill, it still has certain amounts of these heavy metals within it. And when it breaks down and decomposes in the environment, that is released. That's one of the reasons why I tend to try and stay away from it if I can. But you have to take into account the fact that it is cheaper to work with. So we've got some very nice leather here. I showed it to you before. It's the black and the green stuff that's been, I say, inside out tanned. That's the easiest way to describe it. The bit that would normally be on the inside is outside. So you get all these veins, you can see all the veins and everything from the hide. It's all visible. You'll see what I mean as I go along. At some point today, I've got a boom arm for the camera arriving, so I'll easily be able to move it around and position it over where I'm working without it getting in my way. That will also help a great deal. I am currently doing some research to figure out if switching out this camera for a better one will help too. I'm aware of the fact that our recording quality isn't the best, but again, limitations on technology at the moment. So I will try to do this in a way where the steps are shown but heavily abbreviated, so you don't sit there and watch me for half an hour sewing a piece on. I'll show the fact that I've started to sew and then show you what it looks like afterwards. The sound I will keep on so I can still talk if need be, but apologies if it's a little bit jarring. As I say, I'm experimenting. I have already started it. I've got the first couple of pieces cut out. I'll describe what these are as I go. Let's get on with this. Right, so I've already cut out the pattern I'm going to use, and I've gone through it all with the client, in other words, my mother at this point, and we worked out what colours we're going to use because she's got a black and a green. So we're going to use the black to highlight it and make the most of the handbag in green. So on each piece of the pattern, as you can probably see, I've written green or black on it. There we go. So the black parts I have already cut out. I've been experimenting with them a little bit here and there because I'm trying to work out how to work with this chrome. Where is it? There it is. It seems to be a touch resistant to being, using these edging tools. I say it's not quite as firm as veg tan leather is. So I'm just going to sort these edges out and then try and burnish them. Right, I'll get this bit done. So that's all the edges prepared on the black. I used the black tokenol to do it. It's a little bit more difficult to burnish the edges on this compared to veg tan, and to at least get a decent edge, it seems. But it's doable. It's doable. Ooh, sorry, just nudged the camera. Right, these two corners here will be sewn together like this because this is going to form the front pouch of the handbag. That's the word I'm looking for. Handbag. So that'll be pinched together like that and then sewn into place to form a pouch like that on the front. Right. Now I just need to cut out the green leather and get that all prepared as well. I'll start with that one because it's a little bit easier to get to. Right, that's got it all drawn out. Even the silver pen works differently on this. I'll take this moment here to point out the gusset, which is this section right here, E. I've tweaked the design, or I'm going to tweak the design slightly. I'm supposed to cut a hole out in here, and then this bit would be sewn on the inside with the part that I'm going to cut out here on it like that. So that's this bit here. So it would be folded over and sewn on first like that, and then sewn on to have it showing through that hole in the gusset there. I'm not going to cut that hole out. I am going to sew that on the outside like that, with that bit on top. For a number of reasons. The main one is going to be strength, because there is only a small surface area around the outside of this hole that the stitching will go through. Although, given the size of the bag, because one of the other tweaks that we've made is we've actually reduced it by 80%. So we've actually just printed out the PDF smaller, basically, to reduce the size of the bag. It'll be adding strength if I can glue this bit on top of here before stitching it. There'll be a larger surface area that it's holding onto, and less likely to tear around here or around this edge here. This bit will obviously not, the strength of this bit will not be changed at all by what we're doing here. But I'll be able to sew that bit onto there and then sew this bit on top, and essentially sew it through these two layers at the same time. So I guess, yeah, that change will make a bit of a difference to the strength of the attachment onto the bag for the handle, the strap, sorry. So it's going to improve the strength of it, and also the second reason would be showing off the contrast in colours, because that would barely be seen, that piece of leather, if it was sewn onto the back of this, because it would be largely covered by this part, which you can see pretty much exactly matches the hole. So we're going to show off the contrast in the leather better that way as well. So there's not just an aesthetic reason, there is a practical reason for it as well. Right, I'm just going to cut this out now. I'm probably just going to cut it straight off across the top here. See how that goes. Just out of shot there is the cable for the camera. If I wasn't careful, I was going to cut right the way through it. Come on, I can't do this. I'm trying to do this as I'm still in shot, but at the same time, trying not to nudge the camera with my arm. Ow. Okay, so I've just removed the big roll. I've got a nice long straight edge here, so I can start cutting out the actual pieces here. Go, there's the gusset. Whilst cutting out, I just discovered that my circular, don't know what you call this thing, perfectly matches the pattern's curve, so I can use that to get a really nice proper curve by using a roll cut with my saddler's knife. It's a bit better than trying to follow it around with a knife. So you get nice curves. Ooh, nice curves. Alright, just getting the last little bit done. I'll be so glad when I can afford one of those really big cutting mats that covers the entire table. There we go. That's out of there, and then good. I've just received a notification that the boom arm for the camera is going to be arriving momentarily. So hopefully in any moment you'll see the angle of this camera change. So here's the green bits all cut out. Along with the black bits. So these green parts will go here, fold it over like that and put on there. Apologies, I kind of stopped mid-sentence there. I was just describing how this is going to look. Actually, my boom arm has just arrived for the camera. But whilst I've got it here for the moment, I'm just going to quickly show you. It's going to look quite nice like this. Now I'll just get the boom arm set up and come back. Right, now we're cooking. So you'll see the angle has changed ever so slightly. It's a little bit higher up. There's a bit more of the deck in view. There's now a cable trailing across the middle of the screen. There's some way I can get rid of that. Possibly. So, yeah, let's carry on. You can see even more of my junk now, can't you? There it is. Right, yeah, so this is all the parts now of the bag, apart from, oh, there's the gusset. Apart from the strap, and the strap is going to be made, obviously. I think my mum wants a black strap. So I'm just going to work out now which bits need to be burnished. This bit needs to be burnished on the edges, and so does that bit, because they go together like that. I've also got to clean off, as you can see, I've got a bit of silver pen on there that's come off of one of these. That needs tidying up. The edges, the way that this goes together, that's the lid, so that's all going to need to be burnished around the outside edge here. The way that this goes together is the two edges like that, and then you sew through there and come out the other side. There's none of this like I was doing with the previous handbags, where I'm having to put one hand inside the handbag and sew around both sides of the seam or on the outside. I believe there is a specific name for this type of seam. I honestly don't remember what it is. But it means that I will only trim the outside edge of this bit. I'll probably do that after I have sewn it. Yeah, I'm worrying about the best way to do this. As long as I can sew them together and keep them nice and level like that, I won't necessarily need to sand all that much. I can just go over it lightly. So I'll sand it first after I've sewn, trim the edge, and then burnish it. There's no point in burnishing just yet. I can burnish this top part here. I've already done this part, which will sit there. Yeah, so I'll just do that little bit of burnishing and edge prep, and then essentially it's assembly. I go straight into sewing things together. As I say, I'll sew this bit onto here and then fold that over, rivet it and sew that bit on. I'll rivet all the way through as well. That'll make things even stronger still. Yeah, this is going to look pretty good. Right, getting on with it. Right, you can start burnishing this. Something that can sometimes happen with chrome tanned leather is that you get this kind of silver in the middle. That's how you can normally tell chrome tan leather from veg tan leather. You'll get the colour green and green, but in the middle it'll be silver. Sometimes it's a lot more prominent on just an undyed natural leather. That does not appear to be the case here. I did use the black toconol for the black pieces rather than the clear one, but I've only got clear. Toconol only comes in clear, black or brown. Technically I could use the black, but it won't look all that neat, but the clear one will blend in nicely. So yeah, let's give this a shot and hope it comes out looking alright, shall we? I don't know why I don't just dunk my finger in the pot, to be honest. It seems that the toconol seems to soak in a lot more with this leather. It could just be this leather, it could be chrome tan. I don't know. I've never worked with chrome tan before. At least knowingly, anyway. Yeah, seems to come up with quite a nice edge. You can see the difference. It's tidying it up quite nicely. So I shall continue thusly. I shall come back to you when I've got more of this done. I've been doing the burnishing just by putting the tokonol on like this and holding it and then rubbing it with the cloth. But it takes so long to do. You can only do a short bit because you can only hold so much still. Then I came up with an idea. It's not ideal because this is a couple of set squares, but they're the only metal rulers I've got. I've put them in my stitching pony to kind of extend the clamped area, and it's now holding the entire length of the piece of leather I want to burnish. And now I can get on with it a lot easier. I can do a lot more of it in one shot. I mean, it's not ideal, like I said, but it's working a lot better. And also being able to move the camera like this. So I put my big thumb. Being able to put the camera like this, move it around and adjust it and stuff is making life so much easier. Okay, so I've got everything burnished. Any edges that are going to be difficult to burnish after I've sewn them together or can't be burnished until this. Get my words around the wrong way a bit here, aren't I? The edges that can't be burnished until I've sewn them have been left. So in other words, the outer edges here, this bit is going to be the inside of the back, I believe. Quite likely. Yeah, so I don't need that bit. That bit's the lid. Now what I want to do is mark where the front pocket goes and where the straps will attach on here. So to that end, I've got the pattern back here. I will line it up as perfectly as I can with this. I'm just going to use my stylus firmly to leave a mark here like this. And if I do this, you'll see a mark is being left in the leather. And this will give me something to line up on. There you go. Looks like the camera's picking that up. I'll just do the same on the gusset strap now, the gusset bit for the straps. There we go, so that's got those two marked up on there. So I will be placing that on there and gluing it down. And doing the same on this. glue that down, sew it on, then this bit here, I'll punch the rivet hole through here whilst it is on there. So that will also be glued on and sewn with a rivet. So you're getting the contrasting appearances coming together there quite nicely. Hopefully it's showing up all right. Green, black, green. What I must remember to do before I glue and everything on this is put the D-link on there. It'd be rather annoying to come back to this and realise, oh yeah, I didn't put that on there. And the pocket is going to be also, you can see, obviously it's supposed to come in a bit. I've got to sew those corner slits first. That will be an entertaining part to do, I think. Right. Right, I'm going to have to end the video there. It's getting quite late in the day. Believe it or not, there's only like half an hour. I can see that of footage. But there's been a lot happening in between that I just haven't subjected you to at this point. Also, with the arrival of this boom arm, you can see that some of the camera angles have changed. You see it's a lot closer to me right now. It's weird because it's less than a foot from my face at the moment, which is probably a bit more how a webcam should be used. This new style of filming things, just trying it out. Done one video like this, just trying another one out. Hopefully I'll see what people think of it. I will continue with this tomorrow, and it'll be starting the assembly part of things, and as I say, be showing what's happening, but not necessarily everything that is happening. I'll just get this uploaded now. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Please consider doing that. That will help me greatly. Same as liking and sharing if you're enjoying what we're doing. If you're not, tell me. If you are, tell me. It'd be really good to hear from people. Any kind of feedback would be great. And I'll see you tomorrow when I will start the assembly of said handbag you started watching me make right now. Before I go, thank you very much, obviously, of course, to dieselpunk for making this pattern, even though I am altering it quite a lot in the process. It's still the basis of what I'm using to make this handbag. So thank you very much there, Tony. And again, I will see you tomorrow. Cheers very much.